When my mother died on a Saturday in January of 1969 behind a closed bedroom door, I found a love letter to my stepmother inside my father's underwear drawer, written just 3 days before. Soon we'll be together forever, my love. The ink still fresh, French perfume clinging to the paper. My name is Teresa Christine, but everyone calls me Grandma T. I'm 71 years old, born and raised here in Tucson, Arizona, where the January heat melts even bad thoughts. Today I'm going to tell a story I've kept hidden for decades. A story about the day I discovered that monsters don't just live in horror movies. Sometimes they wear French perfume, high heels, and call your father darling. It was 1969, and I was 19. Long hair my mother loved to brush, cotton sundresses she sewed herself, simple dreams of a small-town girl. I lived with my parents in a modest but happy adobe house in Barrio Viejo, one of the oldest parts of Tucson. The house had a large yard full of fruit trees, pomegranate, fig, citrus. My father, Joseph Christine, worked at the Pabst Blue Ribbon Brewery on the production line. Left early, came home late, but we never lacked for anything. My mother, Abigail, besides taking care of everything, made lunchboxes to sell. She'd wake up at 4 in the morning to get everything ready, and the delivery boys would pick them up at 6. Simple but carefully prepared food: meatloaf, potatoes, a fried egg, salad, cornbread. 20 lunchboxes a day, sometimes 30 when there were special orders from construction sites. I helped where I could. In the morning, before school, I'd peel potatoes, wash rice, chop seasonings. In the afternoon, after class, I'd wash the aluminum containers that came back, prepare for the next day. My mother would hum while cooking, old country songs, folk tunes, music she learned from my grandmother. The kitchen always smelled of sautéed garlic, paprika, cumin. The smell of home, of family, of love. Everything changed that Saturday morning. It was January 1969, the hottest month of the year in Tucson. That humid heat that makes clothes stick to your body, that melts the asphalt. Normally, I'd wake up to the sound of my mother in the kitchen, pots clanging, water running, radio playing softly on the morning program. But that day, silence. Strange. It was 7 o'clock and no movement. I got up slowly, the old fan still spinning in the room, making that familiar noise. I went to the kitchen, empty. Stove off, table without coffee. Mom? Nothing. I went to their bedroom. Door closed, which was also strange. My mother always left it open to circulate the air. I knocked lightly. Mom? Are you awake? Silence. I opened the door slowly. The room was dark, curtains closed, my mother lying on her side, facing the wall, the sheet rising and falling with the rhythm of her... Wait. The sheet wasn't rising and falling. Mom? I approached, touched her shoulder, cold, stiff. I turned her slowly and faced the horror. Open eyes, glazed, staring at nothing, mouth slightly open as if she had tried to scream. The skin already with that strange color, bluish. The scream that came out of me woke up the entire street. A scream that came from deep inside, from my gut, from my soul. My father came running from the kitchen. He was already awake, having coffee alone. He pretended to be surprised, pretended to be desperate. But today, looking back, I see it was all an act. Abigail! My God, Abigail! What happened? He threw himself on her, shook her, called her, cried. Crocodile tears I know now. At the time, I could only scream, cry, despair. The neighbors started arriving. Mrs. Martinez from next door, Mr. Wilson from across the street, Mrs. Gonzalez from 2 houses down. Everyone coming in without asking permission, as is customary in poor neighborhoods when tragedy strikes. Call an ambulance. Bring sugar water for the girl. Jesus, so young. But an ambulance wouldn't help. My mother had been cold for hours. The doctor who came, Dr. Stevens, a general practitioner who treated the whole neighborhood, confirmed the obvious. Death during the night. Possible heart attack. Sudden death. Natural, he said. Natural. Natural, my ass. My mother was 42 years old. Never had heart problems. Never complained about anything. The day before, she was normal, singing, making plans for Sunday. She was going to make her famous chili, had already bought the meat, The funeral was that same afternoon. January in Tucson doesn't forgive. The heat accelerates everything. You can't wait. The San Xavier Funeral Home, right in Barrio Viejo, prepared everything in a hurry. Simple coffin, pine, wilted flowers, baby's breath, chrysanthemums, cheap things, candles melting in the heat, the sweet smell of death mixing with the smell of candle and wilted flower. Oh, folks, before I continue, I have some news to share with you all. The team from this channel asked me to announce that there will be a $200 giveaway to celebrate 10,000 subscribers on this Grandparents' Tales channel. To participate in this giveaway, just comment anything about yourself in the comments of this video. Where you're from, how many children you have, a story about yourself, whatever you like. Also, you must subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and like this video. Now, let's continue. The house filled with people. The whole neighborhood, distant relatives I barely remembered existed, church people. My mother was beloved. She always helped those in need, gave food to the hungry, lent money, and forgot to collect. The prayer circle ladies cried in each other's arms. The lunchbox customers lamented, everyone repeating the same phrases. So young. Seemed so healthy. Poor Teresa, now without a mother. God knows what he's doing. God knows what he's doing. I still hate that phrase. If God knew, why did he let it happen? Why take my mother and leave the monster? My father played the role of the perfect widower, receiving condolences, thanking people for coming, sniffling into his handkerchief. Every now and then he would look at me with a fake, concerned face. Teresa, honey, go rest a bit. Eat something, my daughter. Want water? Coffee? Too much care, too much affection. I should have suspected right there. My father was never one for much tenderness. He loved me, of course, but in his way, distant, practical. Men of that time weren't into hugging and kissing. It was in the middle of that confusion of people and crying that I saw her for the first time. A different woman. Tall, thin, but not scrawny. Elegantly thin. Good quality black dress, not cotton or cheap fabric. High heels, leather purse, sunglasses even indoors. Platinum blonde hair, straight, cut at chin length. Discreet red lipstick. French perfume, the kind that permeates the environment, that makes its presence known. She wasn't from the neighborhood, that was obvious. Barrio Viejo was a neighborhood of workers, retirees, simple people. That woman screamed money, sophistication, another world. Who's that? I asked Mrs. Martinez, who was beside me. I don't know, child. Never seen her before. Must be from your father's work. But she wasn't. Women didn't work at Pabst. And even if they did, they wouldn't dress like that to go to a worker's funeral. I saw when she approached the coffin. Looked at my mother for a few seconds, face expressionless. Didn't cry, didn't pray, didn't make the sign of the cross, just looked as if checking something. Then turned and went to talk to my father. The way he changed when he saw her. His posture straightened, his gaze alert. Nervous? Anxious? I didn't understand then. Now I know. It was guilt. Guilt and desire. She extended her gloved hand. He shook it. They held that handshake too long, too intimate, looked into each other's eyes too long. My condolences, Mr. Joseph, she said. Smooth, modulated voice. The voice of someone who studied, who learned to speak properly. Thank you for coming. Claire. Claire. Soap opera name, I thought at the time. Name of a calculated woman. She turned to me. Slowly removed her glasses. The eyes were green, that hypnotic sea green. Cold. Calculating. Analyzing me from head to toe like someone evaluating merchandise. You must be Teresa. Your mother talked about you a lot. Lie. My mother never mentioned any Claire. I knew all her friends, all her prayer ladies, all her acquaintances. Small-town women don't have hidden friends. You knew my mother? We were acquaintances. We saw each other occasionally. More lies. My mother never left the house without me. Weekdays she stayed in the kitchen making lunchboxes. Sundays she went to Mass with me and my father. When did she ever see this Claire? Funny, she never mentioned you. Her smile faltered for a second. My father intervened. Mrs. Claire she's from the club, The club that the company frequents. Club. What club? Popst had a recreational association, but it was a men's thing. Women didn't enter. And my mother never went to any club. The conversation died there. Claire put her glasses back on, said goodbye with a nod, walked out in those high heels as if on a runway. My father followed her with his eyes until she disappeared through the door. The rest of the funeral passed in a blur. Prayer, crying, black coffee, shortbread cookies. The cemetery workers arrived at 5 in the afternoon. The coffin was carried by neighbors and relatives, my father in front, pretending his legs were wobbling. Me behind, supported by Mrs. Gonzalez and Mrs. Martinez. The procession walked to San Xavier Cemetery, 5 blocks away. Still strong sun, burning asphalt, everyone sweating. Father Anthony performed a quick ceremony in the chapel, talked about eternal life, about God's designs, about acceptance. Nonsense. How to accept the unacceptable. How to come to terms with the sudden death of the most important person in my life. At the cemetery, the open grave waiting. Red Tucson earth, dry, hard. The coffin descended slowly on the ropes. I threw the first shovel of dirt, as custom dictates. The hollow sound of earth hitting wood, a sound that never leaves your head. Each clod was a piece of me dying alongside. When we returned home, the shock. She was there, Claire, sitting in our living room, drinking coffee from our good china set, the porcelain one my mother received as a wedding gift and only used on special occasions. What is she doing here? I asked my father. Teresa, sit down. We need to talk. The tone. That tone adults use when they're about to give bad news to a child. But I wasn't a child. I was 19, age to marry, to have children, to run a household. I don't want to sit. I want to know what this woman is doing in our house. Don't talk like that, Teresa. Mrs. Claire. You can call me Claire, she interrupted. After all, we'll soon be family. The floor disappeared. The air was gone. The world stopped spinning. What? Your father and I are getting married, she said, just like that, like announcing it's going to rain. But Mom isn't even cold yet. My scream echoed through the house. The neighbors must have heard. What a scandal. But I didn't care. Teresa, calm down, my father tried. How can I calm down? Mom died today, and you're already bringing another woman home? It's not like that. Yes, it is. You already knew each other. I saw the way you looked at each other. The silence confirmed everything. They looked at each other. Guilty, obviously guilty. How long? I asked, my voice now low, deadly. Teresa, how long? A few months, my father confessed. A few months. While my mother made lunch boxes, washed clothes, took care of the house, he was meeting with this tramp. While she happily hummed, he betrayed her behind her back. You're disgusting. Don't talk to your father like that, Claire intervened. And you don't talk to me. You're not my mother. You never will be. That's when the slap came. First of my life, my father's heavy hand crossing my face, throwing me aside. It stung. It hurt. But more than my face, my soul hurt. My father, the man who was supposed to protect me, hitting me because of her. Apologize to Claire. Now. Never. Apologize. You should be apologizing. To me. To my mother. Another slap. Harder. I fell to the floor this time, the taste of blood in my mouth. Stop, Joseph, Claire interfered. She's upset. It's normal. Normal. Everything was normal to her. Stealing a husband, destroying a family, all normal. You killed her, I whispered from the floor. The silence was heavy. My father turned pale. Claire tightened her grip on the cup. What did you say? You killed my mother. With heartbreak, with betrayal. You killed her. You're crazy. Your mother had a heart attack. Yeah, very convenient, isn't it? Wife dies, mistress enters. What a coincidence. Teresa, Claire stood up. I understand your pain. Losing a mother is difficult, but accusing us of... Shut up! You don't understand anything. I ran to my room, locked the door, threw myself on the bed. I cried until I had no more tears, until my throat hurt, until my whole body shook. My mother dead. My father a traitor. My life destroyed. All in a matter of hours. Outside, I heard them talking quietly, making plans, deciding my future without consulting me. Her honeyed voice, his cowardly agreement. It was there, in that room, with the taste of blood in my mouth and my face stinging from the slap, that I decided I would discover the truth about my mother's death. Whatever it took, however long it took, because deep down, I knew that wasn't natural death. It was murder. The first days after the burial were hell disguised as normality. Claire moved into our house the same day, brought suitcase after suitcase of clothes, shoeboxes, beauty products that took over the whole bathroom. The smell of her French perfume took over the house, expelling the smell of coffee and sautéed garlic that was my mother's signature. February 1969 began with her taking command of everything. On the first morning, I woke up to the sound of furniture being moved. I ran to the living room and found two men removing the old sofa my mother loved. "What's happening here?" "Oh, Teresa, good morning," Claire appeared, all dressed up at 7 in the morning. "I'm making some changes. This house needs modernization." "That sofa was my mother's." "Was, past tense. Now we'll have new, modern furniture. Look." She pointed to the door, where other men were bringing in a white leather sofa. White. In a poor man's house with a dirt yard. It would last a week. "You can't do this." "I can and I will." Your father agreed. "By the way, where is he?" "He went to work." "Ah, yes, hard-working man, your father. That's why he deserves a beautiful home." The implication was clear. My mother didn't give him a beautiful home. I swallowed my anger and went to my room. But there was no peace, even there. Soon she knocked on the door. "Teresa, I want to talk about some rules." "What rules?" She entered without asking permission, looked around with disgust. My room was simple. Single bed, old wardrobe, small study desk. But it was mine. It had my things, my books, my memories. First, no locking doors in this house. Second, you'll help with household chores. Third, no going out without notification. Fourth, respect, always. This is my house too. It's your father's house, and now mine. You live here by our grace, by their grace. In the house where I was born, where I grew up, by their grace. March brought the first serious provocations. It started subtly, burned food only on my plate, my clothes that disappeared from the clothesline, hygiene products that mysteriously ran out. I complained to my father. "Dad, Claire is persecuting me." "Don't talk nonsense, Teresa. Claire is trying to organize the house. She burned my rice on purpose. It was an accident. She's not used to our stove." Always an excuse. Always on her side. April escalated the situation. Now there were disguised aggressions. She would bump into me, accidentally, pushing me, would drop hot things near me, would step on my foot with that stiletto heel. "Oh, sorry, I'm so clumsy." Theater. Pure theater. But convincing enough for my father not to notice. Or not to want to notice. May was when the isolation began. She convinced my father that I didn't need to go out so much anymore. "Teresa is out too much, Joseph. A proper young lady stays at home. I go to study. You've already finished high school. What more study do you need? You're going to learn to take care of a house, which is what you need." And so I lost my freedom. I couldn't go out without supervision anymore. Friends stopped coming over. She said they were a nuisance. The neighborhood distanced itself. She spread rumors that I was troubled. June brought the public humiliations. When there were visitors, she made a point of diminishing me. "Teresa is a bit slow, poor thing. Didn't inherit her mother's intelligence." Oh, wait. Her mother wasn't all that bright either, was she? Speaking ill of me was bad. Speaking ill of my mother was unbearable. But if I reacted, it was worse. See? Aggressive. Needs to learn manners. July marked the beginning of real physical violence. It was on a Sunday. My father had gone out to play dominoes at the bar. I was washing dishes when she appeared in the kitchen. "Wash properly. Everything's still greasy." "It's clean." "No, it's not. Look here." She took a plate, ran her finger over it, showed me. There was nothing, but she made a disgusted face. "Filthy. Just like your mother." That was the last straw. I turned to her, blood boiling. "Don't talk about my mother." I'll talk about whatever I want. By the way, do you know why your father chose me? Because I'm everything she wasn't. Beautiful, educated, clean. Shut up. I raised my hand, don't even know if I was going to hit her or just gesture. There wasn't time. She was faster. She grabbed the wooden spoon that was in the sink and hit my arm, hard. It hurt so much I screamed. Never raise your hand to me again, you hear? Never. I held my painful arm, tears in my eyes. She came closer, her face inches from mine. Your mother is dead. I'm alive. I won. Accept it. August brought the escalation of cruelty. Now she hit regularly, always when my father wasn't around, always in places that didn't show much, stomach, back, thighs. Used whatever was at hand, wooden spoon, slipper, belt. If you tell your father, it will be worse. I'll say you're a liar, troubled. Who will he believe? I knew the answer. I tried to tell him anyway. Dad, Claire hit me. Hit you? How? With the wooden spoon. Look at my arm. I showed the bruise. He frowned. Claire? Joseph. Teresa fell in the kitchen. I warned her to be careful with the wet floor. That's not what happened. She hit me. Teresa, stop making up stories. Apologize to Claire. But Dad, apologize! I apologized, with hatred in my heart. But I apologized. She smiled victoriously. September intensified everything. The beatings got worse. I discovered that being hit silently hurt less. The more I shouted, the more she hit. I learned to bite my lip, tighten my eyes, endure. That's better. Nobody likes a scene. October came with a new form of torture. Food. She started controlling what I ate. Served less food, hid the sweets, locked the pantry. You're fat. You need to lose weight. Men don't like fat women. I wasn't fat. Never was. But I started to lose weight for real. From nerves, from sadness, from hunger itself. November brought psychological terror. She would enter my room at night, stand beside the bed, watching me sleep. I would wake up startled. She was there, smiling in the dark, just checking if everything's all right. Sleep, sleep. But how to sleep with that witch watching me? It was in December that the worst happened. Christmas Eve, my father had gone out to buy drinks for the dinner. The house decorated, table set. She had invited some friends, rich, stuck-up women who looked at our house with barely disguised contempt. I was in the kitchen preparing things when I heard them talking in the living room. Poor you, Claire, having to take care of someone else's daughter. Yes, and on top of that, such a troubled girl. Troubled how? Oh, I can't even tell you. Aggressive, a liar. I think she takes after her father. The man used to drink, beat his wife. Lies. My father never drank, never hit my mother. But I, foolish, couldn't bear to hear. Liar! I entered the living room shouting. The women were startled. Claire pretended to be surprised. Teresa, what scandal is this? You're lying. My father never hit my mother. Oh no, then why was she always covered in bruises? Stop lying. That's when she stood up, calmly, took her purse, removed something from inside, a photo, showed it to her friends first, then to me. It was my mother, with a swollen face, black eye, a photo I had never seen. This is your mother, after one of your father's beatings. I helped her, poor thing. That's how we became friends. Lies, all lies. But the photo was real. How? She fell, I tried to explain. I remember that day, she slipped in the bathroom. Oh dear, every battered woman says that. I fell, I slipped, I hit the door. The friends nodded their heads, compassionate. They looked at me with pity. They believed her. You're a viper. I didn't see when she grabbed the broom. It was leaning in the corner of the living room, one of those old ones, thick wooden handle. The first blow caught my back. Don't talk to me like that. I tried to run, but she was faster. The second blow hit my legs, knocked me down. Ungrateful brat! The friends screamed, but didn't interfere. They stayed there, watching the show. The broom came down on my back, arms, wherever I tried to protect myself. I take care of you, give you a home, food. Each word, a blow. I screamed, twisted, tried to escape, but she had the strength of a demon. If it wasn't for me, you'd be on the street. The wood cracked from hitting so much. One of the blows caught my head. I saw stars, taste of blood in my mouth. "Claire, enough!" One of the friends finally spoke up. "She needs to learn." But she stopped. I was on the floor, curled up, bleeding, back on fire, head throbbing. She dropped the broken broom beside me. "Get up, go to your room, and clean up that blood before your father gets home." I dragged myself to my room, locked the door, collapsed on the bed. My whole body hurt. Blood flowing from the cut on my head, staining the pillow. But worse than the physical pain was the humiliation, being beaten in front of visitors, being exposed that way, and nobody doing anything. My father arrived hours later, knocked on the door. "Teresa? Why are you locked in there?" "I'm feeling ill. Claire said you made a scene in front of her friends." "She beat me, Dad, with the broom." Silence. "She said you tried to attack her, that she had to defend herself." "Lies. Teresa, enough. Tomorrow is Christmas. Let's have peace in this house." And he left me there, bleeding, in pain, alone. I spent the night awake, body throbbing, head buzzing. But worse was my heart, the certainty that I was alone in that house, that nobody would defend me, that she could do whatever she wanted with me. The next day, Christmas, I went down for dinner. Heavy makeup to hide the bruises, long clothes to cover the injuries, fake smile to pretend normality. "Merry Christmas, Teresa," Claire sang. "I made turkey. Your favorite food." It wasn't. My favorite food was my mother's roast chicken. But I agreed. What else could I do? During dinner she was all sweetness, serving everyone, smiling, telling stories. The perfect wife, the dedicated stepmother. No one would imagine that the night before she had beaten me with a broom. "Teresa is quiet today," my father observed. "Are you feeling better?" Claire asked, all concerned. "Yesterday she had a crisis. Poor thing. I think it's still the grief. Crisis. That's what she called it." "Eat, daughter," my father insisted. "Food cures everything." I ate, each forkful going down with difficulty, the taste of blood still in my mouth. It was that Christmas that I realized I was a prisoner in my own home, hostage to a cruel woman who had bewitched my father. And nobody was going to save me. Nobody. All that remained was to survive, one day at a time, one beating at a time, until what? I didn't know. But something had to happen, something had to change, because I couldn't take much more. January 1970 began with my father completely transformed. He was no longer the man I had known all my life. The honest worker, caring father, respectful husband. That man died with my mother. In his place, a monster emerged who made the perfect pair with Claire. The first change was the drinking. My father always had a beer on Sunday, a shot on birthdays, small things, social. But after Claire entered our lives, he began to drink every day. He would come home from work and go straight to the bar, return late, staggering, stinking of whiskey. "Where were you until this hour?" Claire would ask, pretending concern. "At the bar. Any problem?" "Of course not, dear. A man needs to relax." She encouraged it, bought bottles of whiskey, kept them cold in the refrigerator. The more he drank, the easier it was for her to manipulate him. February brought the violence I feared so much. My father drunk was another man, rough, aggressive, cruel. It started with shouting. "Teresa, where's dinner?" "It's on the table, Dad." "Takes too long. Lazy just like your mother." Just like her mother. How dare he? The woman who took care of him for 20 years, who endured his absences, his moods. Now she was lazy? But I kept quiet, learned from Claire that reacting only made things worse. March escalated the situation. Shouts turned into shoves. He would come home drunk, bump into me by accident, knock me off the chair, throw me against the wall. "Sorry, I'm a bit high." High. That's what he called being drunk now. Claire watched everything with that satisfied little smile. Sometimes she even provoked it. "Joseph, Teresa didn't wash the dishes properly again." "What?" "Look here, this plate. Dirty." Lies. I scrubbed until it shined. But all it took was for her to speak for him to explode. "Lazy girl, don't know how to do anything." And he would come at me. Claire would step away, let him do the dirty work. April was the month he hit me for the first time. For real, not just a slap. It was a Sunday. He had lost money gambling, came home furious, lost everything, everything. And you know whose fault it is? How would it be my fault? I didn't even know he gambled. Yours. You bring bad luck. Since you were born, you've only been trouble. The punch came out of nowhere, hit my stomach, doubled me over. I fell to the floor, breathless. Stop, Joseph. Claire pretended to protest. Not like this. She deserves it. Cursed daughter. Kicked my ribs. Once, twice, pain exploding. That's enough, dear. Come, I'll make some coffee. And took him to the kitchen, leaving me there on the floor. Later, when I went to the bathroom spitting blood, she appeared. You provoke him. You need to learn to be quiet. I didn't do anything. Existing is provocation enough. You remind him of your mother, the traitor. My mother never betrayed anyone. She laughed. That cold, cruel laugh. Oh no? Then why did he choose me? Why does he prefer having me in his bed? Disgust. Pure disgust. I left the bathroom before vomiting in her face. May intensified everything. Now violence was routine. My father drank, Claire provoked, I got beaten. An infernal cycle that repeated every day. Teresa talked back to me today. What? I asked her to wash the bathroom. She said she had already washed it. Lies. I had washed it, but it didn't matter. Backtalker, come here! I ran. I hid. But a small house doesn't have many hiding places. He always found me. June brought a new level of cruelty. They started torturing me together. It was a sick game between them. You know what your daughter did today, Joseph? What? She was talking to the gas delivery guy, flirting. Slut, just like your mother. I hadn't even seen any delivery guy. I was locked in my room, as always. But he believed. He always believed her. The punches came, the kicks, the slaps. She watched, gave suggestions. Don't hit her face. It will show. The back is better. Nobody sees. Torture class. She teaching, he learning. July was when I almost died, literally. My father came home drunker than normal. Claire had prepared the ground. I found this in her room. She showed a letter. I recognized my handwriting, but not the content. What's this? Love letter. To the butcher's son. Lies. I never wrote a letter to anyone. But how to prove it? Little whore, already offering yourself? I tried to explain, to deny. But he didn't listen. He came at me like a bull, threw me to the floor, started kicking me. Stomach, back, head. I lost count of the blows. Kill her now! Claire shouted. And he almost killed me, only stopped when I passed out. I woke up hours later, vomiting blood. Broken rib for sure. Maybe two. August brought hunger as a weapon. They started denying me food, locked everything, refrigerator, cabinets, pantry. Fat as you are, you don't need to eat every day, Claire said. I had already lost about 30 pounds, was skin and bones. But to them, I was still fat. Got fat like your mother. That's why she died. Heart couldn't take it. Cruel lie. My mother wasn't fat. She was strong, healthy, until that cursed morning. September marked a new type of torture. Total isolation. They nailed boards over my bedroom window, locked the door from the outside. I would go days without seeing sunlight. It's for your own good, Claire explained. So you don't run away. Don't do something stupid. Run away where? Do what stupid thing? I just wanted to live. October came with explicit death threats. It wasn't between the lines anymore. It was direct. You know what happens to ungrateful daughters? My father would ask, knife in hand. They die. Like your mother. Like your mother. The confession right there, in the open. But what could I do? An accident, a fall, a sudden illness. So many things can happen. Claire completed. November was terrible. The beatings got worse. Now they used objects. Belt, cord, stick, whatever they found. My body was a map of scars. Why don't you just die already? My father would ask while hitting me. Do everyone a favor. I asked myself the same thing. Why didn't I die? It would be easier. But something kept me alive. Anger maybe, stubbornness, or just animal survival instinct. December 1970, second Christmas of my particular hell. This time they didn't even pretend normalcy. They left me locked in my room while they celebrated. I heard the laughter, the music, the toasts, life continuing without me, as if I had already died. "To Claire, the woman who saved my life," I heard my father shout. Saved. By destroying mine. It was on New Year's Eve that everything changed. They were drunk, celebrating in the living room. They forgot to lock my room. I came out slowly, went to the kitchen, got some water. For days, I'd only been drinking from the bathroom tap. That's when I saw it. On the table, her purse open. And inside, documents. Many documents. Curiosity overcame fear. I took the papers, looked quickly. IDs, several, with different names, all with her photo, old photos, newspaper clippings. Widow disappears after wealthy husband's suspicious death. My heart raced. I put some papers in the pocket of my nightgown. Evidence, proof, of what exactly I didn't know, but I felt it was important. "What are you doing there?" My father, at the door, furious. Water. Going through Claire's things, little thief. He came at me. But this time was different. He grabbed my neck, hard, cutting off air. Better end this once and for all. Black spots in my vision. Lungs burning. I was going to die. Right there. Right then. "Joseph, stop!" Claire appeared. "Not here! The neighbors will hear!" He let me go. I fell coughing, choking. "Take her to her room. Tomorrow we'll settle this." Settle. Kill. That's what they were planning. They dragged me to my room, locked it. But I had the papers, the evidence. And I was certain, if I didn't escape soon, I would die. The clock showed midnight. 1971, beginning. The year of my death or my liberation. I didn't sleep. I stayed awake, planning. How to escape? Where to go? With what money? In the morning, I heard them arguing. "It has to look natural," Claire was saying, "like it was with her mother. Takes too long. I prefer to do it fast." "Don't be stupid. You want to go to prison?" "Nobody will care about her. They always care. We have to be careful." So that was it. They were deciding how to kill me. Natural like my mother. Poison, probably. Or violent, fake accident. Desperation gave me strength. I started digging with my nails at the wall. Old wood, damp. Maybe I could make a hole. Hours digging, bleeding fingers, but the wood giving way. When I made a hole big enough to pass my hand through, I reached the latch on the outside, opened it slowly. Silent house. It was 3 p.m. He at work, she napping in the living room. It was now or never. I took the documents I had hidden, left on tiptoe, heart racing, the front door, so close, so far. 3 steps, 2, 1. "Where do you think you're going?" I froze, turned slowly. Claire, awake, staring at me. Go back, now." "No." The word came out before I could think. Small, but definitive. "No. No, I'm not going back. I'm tired. You want to kill me? Kill me. But I'm not going back." She stood up, came toward me. But I was faster. I opened the door, ran out. "Come back here, Teresa!" I ran, barefoot, torn nightgown, disheveled hair. Must have looked crazy, but free. For the first time in 2 years, free. I didn't know where to go. I had no one, but anywhere was better than that house. Any fate better than death. The neighbor, Mrs. Gonzalez, was sweeping her sidewalk. She saw me, startled. "Teresa, my God, what happened? Help me, please." I collapsed in her arms, crying, shaking, alive. For now, Mrs. Gonzalez took me in that January day of 1971 as if I were her own daughter. She brought me inside, closed all the doors, sent her grandson to tell anyone who came by that she wasn't home. She gave me a bath, clean clothes, hot food, luxuries I had forgotten existed. "My Lord, child, you're nothing but bones. And these injuries," she saw the marks. All of them, the old ones and the new ones, the cuts, the bruises, the scars. The map of my torture engraved on my skin. "It was him, wasn't it? Your father?" I nodded, without strength to speak. "And that viper too?" I nodded again. I knew it. Since she entered that house, I sensed something bad. Your mother died very strangely. That's when I remembered. The documents. I still had them, crumpled in the pocket of my nightgown. Mrs. Gonzalez, I found something. In her purse. I showed her the papers, fake IDs, newspaper clippings. She examined them carefully, her eyes widening with each discovery. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, this woman is a criminal. Do you think she killed your mother? Child, after what I'm seeing here, I doubt nothing. We spent the whole afternoon examining the documents. There were 3 different identities, all with Claire's photo. The newspaper clippings talked about suspicious deaths, missing widows, questionable inheritances, a clear pattern emerging. We need to go to the police, Mrs. Gonzalez decided. No, they won't believe me. My father will come get me. He'll kill me. Calm down. Let's think this through. First, you need to be safe. She hid me in her house for 3 days, but it was dangerous. My father and Claire searched everywhere. They knocked on doors, threatened, made scenes. We know she's there. I'm her father. I have rights. The girl is sick. She needs treatment. Lies. But convincing enough for the neighborhood to start pressuring Mrs. Gonzalez. The man is the father. You have to give her back. You can't separate a family like that. What if she really ran away? Rebellious teenager. That's when Mrs. Gonzalez made a risky decision. Teresa, you can't stay here, but I have a sister in Phoenix, Margaret. She can take you in, Phoenix, far enough to buy time, to think about what to do. The escape was carefully planned. In the early morning, when my father was drunk and Claire sleeping, 5 in the morning bus, ticket bought with a false name. But before I left, Mrs. Gonzalez did something crucial. I'm going back to your house. Look for more evidence. No, it's dangerous. They're out. I saw your father going to the bar. She went to the market. I have time. I waited anxiously. Half an hour. An hour. When she returned, she brought a bag. I found it, Teresa. Found things you can't imagine. It was a shoebox, hidden in the false bottom of the wardrobe. Inside, the most terrible treasure. A notebook of notes. Claire's handwriting. The first page was already revealing. A list of names, dates, values. John Baptist, Flagstaff, 1963, poisoning, 20,000. Peter Sanders, Tempe, 1965, drowning, 35,000. Charles Lewis, Mesa, 1968, overdose, 50,000. Joseph Christine, Tucson, 1970, pending, 75,000. My father, on the list, with a marked value. She plans to kill him too, I whispered. After transferring everything to her name, Mrs. Gonzalez completed. But there was more. Flipping through the notebook, we found notes on methods, poison doses, ways to simulate accidents, how to forge documents, and on a page in the middle, the confession I was looking for. A. Christine, eliminated as planned. Digitalis in coffee. Joseph believes it was a heart attack. Marriage in 30 days. Transfer of assets in 6 months. Elimination of J in 1 year. A. Christine. Abigail Christine. My mother. There it was, black on white, the confession of murder. My God, Mrs. Gonzalez murmured. We need to protect your father, too. Protect? The man who tortured me? But she was right. Despite everything, I didn't want him dead. Not like this. I took pictures of everything with an old camera Mrs. Gonzalez had. Proof, evidence, ammunition. The trip to Phoenix was tense. 6 hours on the road, jumping at every stop. Thinking they would appear, drag me back. Mrs. Margaret received me without asking questions. Good woman widow, lived alone in a small, simple house. Gave me a room, food, safety. But I couldn't rest. The evidence burned in my conscience. I needed to do something. It was in March that the opportunity appeared. I read in the newspaper about a police station specialized in crimes against women that had opened in Tucson. New thing, experimental. I need to go there, I decided. It's dangerous, Margaret warned. More dangerous is leaving her free. I went. I took everything. Documents, photos, notebook. The detective, Lieutenant Helen, was young, serious, different from the rough cops I knew. She examined everything carefully, asked questions. Many questions. Didn't judge me, didn't doubt me. She believed me. This is very serious. We're talking about serial murders. Are you going to do something? I am, but I need more. Statements, witnesses, forensic evidence. My father will never testify against her. Maybe he won't need to. With this material, I can request a search warrant. Who knows what else we'll find? I returned to Phoenix with hope, but also with fear. What if it didn't work out? What if she escaped? The following weeks were agony, waiting for news, jumping at shadows. Until in May, Mrs. Gonzalez called. "Teresa, you won't believe it. They arrested her." "What? How?" Police searched the house, found more evidence, documents, poisons, even jewelry from previous victims. Relief, but not complete. And my father? He's in shock, doesn't believe it. But the police showed him the evidence, her plans to kill him too. Justice. Finally. The trial came in August. I was called to testify. First time I saw them both since the escape. Claire stared at me with pure hatred. But she had no more power over me. My father, he seemed destroyed, aged, finished. I told everything, the abuses, the tortures, the threats. I showed the scars. The prosecutor used my photos of the notebook as the main evidence. The sentence, life imprisonment. Multiple crimes, aggravated. No right to appeal. When she left in handcuffs, she passed by me. "This won't end here," she whispered. "It already has," I replied. My father was acquitted of complicity in my mother's murder, but he got sentenced for mistreatment and torture, 5 years. He died in 2, cirrhosis, loneliness, remorse. I didn't go to the funeral. I couldn't forgive, not completely. In September, I received a letter from Lieutenant Helen. The investigation revealed more victims of Claire. 7 husbands killed in total. I had helped stop a serial killer. You saved lives, Teresa. Probably your father's too. Did I really save him? I don't know, but at least I did justice for my mother. October brought an important decision. What to do with my life now? Return to Tucson? Never. Stay in Phoenix? Maybe. It was Mrs. Margaret who suggested, "Why don't you study, do law, become a detective like Lieutenant Helen? Law. Defend women. Give voice to those who don't have one. Do justice." I liked the idea. With the money from selling the house, I inherited everything after all. I could pay for college. But I'm old. I'm already 22. Old nothing. You're just starting life now. True. My real life was starting there. Free, strong, determined. In November, I enrolled in prep courses. It would be difficult. I had barely finished high school. But I had survived worse things. The entrance exam was a piece of cake compared to the hell I had lived. December came differently. 3rd Christmas away from home, but first with peace. Mrs. Margaret made a simple dinner. Invited neighbors. Good people, welcoming. A toast to Teresa. May the new year bring only good things, I toasted. With tears in my eyes, but a smile on my face. 1972 began with hope. Studying like crazy, recovering lost time, building a future. I passed the entrance exam. Law at Arizona State University in Tempe. Irony, returning to Arizona, but different. Strong. College was a challenge and liberation. Each class, each book gave me tools. Knowledge is power. Power to never be a victim again. Power to help other victims. I graduated in 1976. Passed the police exam in 1978. Returned to Phoenix, now as Detective Teresa Christine. I specialized in domestic violence. Each case I solved honored my mother's memory. Each woman I saved defeated Claire again. I retired after 30 years. Hundreds of cases, thousands of lives changed. Today, at 71, I tell this story not out of vanity, but to show that there's always a way out, that truth appears, that justice exists. Sometimes it takes time, sometimes it hurts, but it comes. Claire died in prison in 1985, stabbed by another inmate. They say it was a fight, but I know it was revenge. Women protect each other, even in jail. My father died thinking I betrayed him. Maybe I did. Maybe not. I saved him from death, even though he tried to kill me. Is that betrayal or forgiveness? I don't know. I only know that I survived. I won. I transformed pain into purpose, and no one can take that away from me. Life has a funny way of coming full circle, you know? In January 1979, I returned to Tucson as Detective Teresa Christine, no longer the frightened girl who fled 8 years before, but a trained woman, strong, determined to make a difference. My first week at the police station was a test. The male colleagues looked at me sideways. A female detective was still a novelty. Some tried to test me, diminish me. "Detective, this case here is too heavy. Leave it to us." "Too heavy, why? Because it involves domestic violence?" Embarrassed silence. "That's exactly why I'll take it. I know what these women need." And I really did know. Each case that came to my desk was like looking in a mirror of the past. Hurt women, frightened, voiceless, as I once was. Mary Louise was my first big case. 35 years old, 3 children, beaten by her husband for 15 years. She came to the station with her face disfigured, barely able to speak. He said if I reported him, he'd kill me. How many times has he said that? Every time he hits me. And how many times has he killed you? She looked at me surprised. No one had ever put it that way. None. Then the threat didn't work. You're here, alive, brave. It was the first time in years that someone had called her brave. I saw in her eyes the same spark I had lit in myself years ago. Hope. I arrested her husband. Divorce authorized, a rare thing at the time. Protective order. She and the children safe. 6 months later, she sought me out. "Detective Teresa, I got a job, rented a house, the kids are in school. I'm living. Not just surviving, living." Cases like this multiplied. Each woman saved was a personal victory. Each aggressor arrested, a revenge for my mother. Each child protected, the girl I once was being rescued. In 1982, I created the first support group for women victims of violence in Tucson. It started small, 5 women meeting in the back room of the police station. A year later, there were 50. 5 years later, 300. "How did you manage to overcome it?" they always asked. I didn't overcome it. I transformed it. The pain doesn't go away, but it can become strength. And I showed how. Education, work, independence, support network, practical tools to rebuild lives. In 1985, the news came. Claire dead in prison, stabbed in the shower. I felt nothing. Neither joy nor sadness. Emptiness. Divine justice, karma, coincidence. It didn't matter. She couldn't hurt anyone anymore. It was also in 85 that I met Robert, new prosecutor in the city, specialized in crimes against women. Work partner who became a friend, then something more. "Teresa, you're the strongest woman I know." Strength isn't a choice. It's a necessity. No, many people go through what you went through and break. You rebuilt yourself, and you rebuild others. I got married at 36, late by the standards of the time, but at the right time for me. Robert understood my past, respected my scars, supported my mission. We had 2 children, Marina in 87, Peter in 89. I raised them differently, with love but without possession, protection but without imprisonment, discipline but without violence. "Mom, why do you cry when you see those beaten women at the police station?" "Because I was once one of them, daughter. But now you help them? I help. That's why we become strong. To help those who are still weak." The years flew by. Cases solved, lives saved, families rebuilt. In 1995, I was promoted to chief detective, first woman in the position in Tucson. I changed policies, created protocols, trained teams. Domestic violence stopped being a couple's fight to become a serious crime. The Violence Against Women Act didn't exist yet, but we did what we could with what we had. In 2000, I received an honor from the City Council, Woman Who Makes a Difference. I looked at the plaque, thought of my mother. She was the one who made a difference, with her lunchboxes, her affection, her presence. I was just continuing her legacy in my own way. I retired in 2009, 30 years of police work, thousands of cases, countless lives transformed. But I didn't stop. I became a volunteer. Lectures, consultations, guidance. Grandma, why do you still work? You're already retired. Because as long as there are women suffering, Grandma has work to do. My grandchildren. 5 in total. Marina gave me 3, Peter 2. Free, happy, safe children. Who don't know the fear I knew? Who find it normal for a woman to be strong, independent, respected? In 2015, I lost Robert. Fulminant cancer. Different pain from the old one. This was of loss, not violence. I cried as I hadn't cried in decades. But this time I had a support network. Family, friends, the hundreds of women I helped and who now helped me. Mrs. Teresa saved my life. Now it's our turn to take care of her. 2020 brought the pandemic, isolation, but it also brought technology. I started recording videos, telling stories, guiding online. I discovered I could reach more people this way. And here we are, 2024. Me at 71, white hair, wrinkles of someone who has lived a lot, but still firm eyes, still strong voice, still clear mission. Today, recording this story for YouTube, I'm not looking for fame or pity. I'm trying to reach you who are watching and going through the same hell I went through. You who think there's no way out, that you're alone, that you'll die in that situation. You won't. Not if you don't allow it. The way out exists. Sometimes it's a door, sometimes a window, sometimes a hole in the wall that you have to dig yourself. But it exists. The strength you already have. You're surviving until now, aren't you? That's already strength. You just need to direct it, the support you'll find. Even if it's with a brave neighbor like my Mrs. Gonzalez, at a police station with someone who believes, in a group of women who understand. Life afterward exists. Look at me here, 71 years old, 2 children, 5 grandchildren, a career, a legacy. The girl who was beaten every day became the woman who saved others. If I could do it, you can too. I won't lie. It's hard. It hurts. It takes time. There are relapses, there's fear, there are sleepless nights. But each step away from hell is worth it. Each day free is a victory. My mother died without seeing justice. But she saw through me. Each woman I saved was a kiss on her face. Each child I protected was a hug I couldn't give her. Claire won for 2 years. I've been winning for 50, and I continue to win. My father died thinking he was a victim. Maybe he was, of his own toxic masculinity. But he chose to be an oppressor too. We always have a choice, even when it seems we don't. Today, I choose to share, to inspire, to motivate, to show that trauma can be transformed into purpose, pain into fuel, scars into medals. You who are watching, your time will come. The time to say no, to ask for help, to leave, to start over. And when it comes, grab it tight, because you deserve to live, not just survive, live, laugh, love, dream, achieve. Your mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, some female ancestor of yours already suffered in silence. You can break the cycle. You can be the first in the lineage to say, enough. And if you're not going through this, but know someone who is, be the Mrs. Gonzalez in their life. Believe, support, help. Sometimes a small gesture saves a life. Now, my virtual grandkids, here we go. If this story touched you, subscribe to this channel. Give it a like to help more women find this video. And comment where you're watching from. I love knowing I've reached all across America. And there's more. To celebrate reaching 10,000 subscribers on Grandparents' Tales, we're doing a $200 giveaway. To enter, just subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment below telling us a little about yourself. It's our way of helping someone who might need a fresh start. Share this video. Send it to that friend who needs to hear it. To the relative suffering in silence. To church groups, work colleagues, school friends. Each share could be someone's salvation. I'll end with this. You're not alone, never are. It might seem that way, it might feel that way, but you're not. There are millions like you, like me, survivors, warriors, winners. The difference between victim and victor is just one decision. The decision to no longer accept it, to seek help, to believe you deserve better. You deserve it. Believe it. With love from a grandma who got hit a lot but hit life back harder, Teresa Christine, 71 years old, retired, volunteer, mother, grandmother, and most importantly, victorious survivor. Until the next video, and remember, subscribe, like, comment, and enter our $200 giveaway. Blessings of light.